Clash at the Castle has come and gone, and I have to say, other than one major surprise, this show had obviously good wrestling, but majority of the time it kind of felt a little bit predictable. But you know what? I'll be a little bit more positive today. I'll be a bit more positive today, because I know a lot of people are probably sick of me always being mad. Tonight's show wasn't bad. Especially when, like, in ring-wise, it wasn't too bad. I thought all the matches, well, we'll talk about the mishaps throughout the show, because my god, I've seen so many wrestling fans freaking talk about the botches that took place on tonight's show. But you know what, I'm gonna call out all the ignorant idiots who talked about it. So, the show kicked off with match of the night, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles in an I Quit match. I really did enjoy this match. This match was great. As I've been saying to you guys all the time, I feel like Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles have been carrying SmackDown on its back. They have really been carrying really hard. And I'm interested to see what they do with AJ Styles next. They probably might just put him in the Money in the Bank ladder match, I'm guessing. But, yeah, honestly, this matchup was really fun. I also love how everyone just assumed that Mama Rhodes being there automatically meant that Cody Rhodes was going to lose. Like, all build-up, I just saw, like, Cody Rhodes was taking pictures saying, Mama Rhodes is in Scotland with me. And then everyone just started immediately assuming AJ Styles is guaranteed to be walking away as the undisputed champion because, oh, that means Gallows and Anderson and Me Chin, they're gonna abduct. They're gonna abduct her. They're gonna abduct Mama Rhodes. They're gonna do an Edge. They're gonna do the same thing that Finn Balor and the Judgment Day did to Beth Phoenix to force Cody Rhodes to say I quit. It was absolutely stupid. And when I saw all that, I was like, if you guys think Cody Rhodes is gonna be losing the title, then you're a bunch of fools. And of course, that's exactly what happened. Everyone were a bunch of fools. Cody Rhodes retained. He forced AJ Styles to say I quit after threatening to bash him with the steel steps. But I couldn't help but to laugh at all the people that just thought that Mama Rhodes being there automatically meant that Cody was going to lose. Mama Rhodes slapped AJ Styles in the face as well. But hey, the I Quit match was good. I love me a good I Quit match. These kinds of matches are my favorite matches. I Quit matches are kind of like my favorite match type, so I'm glad that we actually got an I Quit match that actually happened, because the last I Quit match we had was going to be Bianca Belair versus Bayley. That one didn't happen. That one didn't happen because Bayley got hurt. So honestly, good stuff. Really good opening match. I enjoyed the first match. We got the second match, and this second match was the Triple Threat Tag Team match, and this one was Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defending their titles against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stinks. Shayna Bumsler and Zoe Stinks taking on Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Now, this match, everyone has been talking about the infamous bump, the Indy Hartwell bump, that everyone famously pokes fun at for Indy Hartwell for the last 2 years. If you've ever seen that clip of someone posting that clip of Indy Hartwell slipping and falling in a match against Lash Legend, well, that's basically what Jade Cargill did. She basically did a Indy Hartwell inspiration, as what smartasses were saying on the internet. Literally smartasses on the internet were saying, oh, Jade Cargill was inspired by Indy Hartwell's botch, so she decided to do the same thing. Get the frig out of here. Get the frig out of here. The fact that people are still talking about that bump that happened 2 years ago really tells you how completely childish this damn community is. Jade Cargill is inexperienced, for God's sake. And so was Indy Hartwell back then. And so is Indy Hartwell. And besides, mistakes happen in the ring. You expect professional wrestlers to actually nail their moves perfectly with no mistakes? There's always going to be mistakes. There's always going to be botches and mishaps happening. You know, they probably methodically planned everything out. Maybe in the practice attempts, Jade Cargill nailed that spot perfectly during the practice matches that they've had. Kelly once brought up in her interview with Chris Van Vliet, she once brought up that when she was going to win the title, she brought up that Brie Bella had to remember 3 different matches depending on who won the voting. So basically Kelly confirmed that wrestlers rehearse their matches. They basically rehearse their matches and practice everything. They practice and they rehearse their matches. So basically Jade Cargill probably rehearsed that move several times, and it went swimmingly, it went perfectly. But then just magically on live TV, it just didn't pan out. As I've said time and time again, mistakes happen. And the fact that there were smartasses on social media pointing and laughing, poking the finger and laughing at Jade Cargill for making a mistake. They're like, oh, look at Jade slipping and falling. She's inspired by Indy Hartwell, man. She's the next Indy Hartwell, slipping and falling, botching everywhere. She's experienced, for God's sake. This is the exact same thing that fans did with Maxine Dupree. You think it's all funny. You think it's funny to poke fun at people. You think it's funny to poke fun at these wrestlers for making mistakes and botching and also not being very good in the ring. I'd like to see you try and do that. I'd like to see you try and do the moves that these wrestlers do on a week-to-week basis. Give me a damn break. Give me a damn break. This is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. The IWC, and this is why I hate being a part of the IWC. Because all these people do is make fun at people. Instead of just being like, oh well, mistakes happen, everyone just has to think it's a fun and game, just to point and laugh at people. Joke. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. That's all I can really say about it. Bunch of pathetic losers. That's what I call the IWC, a bunch of pathetic losers. So, anyway, the botch aside, besides the botch, I thought the match was fine. But the surprising outcome here was Alba Fire and Isla Dawn winning the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships and actually winning the match. Good job, Triple H. Well done. You actually finally did something surprising. You actually decided to pull you know what, I'm going to give the fans a shocking, unpredictable, an outcome that no one saw coming. Everyone was expecting Alba Fire and Isla Dawn to leave tonight empty-handed. Everyone was saying it. They're just, even me. They were just in the match, just because they're going to Scotland. Even I was saying that. They're only getting a title shot because they're in Scotland. They're just getting a title shot because they're going to Scotland and they're not going to win. But hey, Triple H, did a good job of proving us wrong. So I apologize, Mr. Triple H. You did a good job at surprising me. But now, you need to keep the belts on them. The other thing that I'm concerned about is that they only got the titles just for the shock value, and then that maybe they defend their titles tomorrow or on Raw against Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, and then they drop the belts back to Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair on Raw or on SmackDown the very next week, the next day. I don't want it to be like they just had them win just for shock value in Scotland and then they just lose them when they get back to America. That would be a dickish thing to do, but WWE has done that before. it's a dickish thing to do, but WWE have done that before. Just give someone a belt and then just immediately pass it back. Does Alexa Bliss beating Sasha Banks on the Raw after SummerSlam ring a bell? And also does The Miz beating Zack Ryder for the IC title right after WrestleMania 32 also ring a bell? So WWE have done it before. So the only question now is, let's see if they actually keep the titles on them, or let's see if they actually keep the titles on them and let them actually have a good reign. And when I say good reign, I don't mean sit them in catering for 5 months and then finally deciding to give them a title shot. When I say a good title reign, I mean give them feuds, have them defend at pay-per-views, and have them win their title defenses. That's what I mean. Not having them sitting catering for 4 months and then like, oh wait, we gotta get our tag team champions on the show. Let's give them something to do. So for now, Triple H did a good move, but let's see if he can keep the momentum. See what happens when you actually do something that I agree with? See what happens when you actually do something that I actually am okay with? You get praise. You get praise, Triple H. Not that difficult. So after that, we had the IC title, Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable, and despite how much I love Chad Gable, I agree with most people that I think that this should be Chad's last chance. I'd said on my streams, and maybe I might have said it on the Raw review, I can't remember, but I've said that if Chad Gable is to lose, the feud needs to be over. We need to move on. We can't just keep having Sami Zayn continue to feud with Chad Gable. Continuously having Chad Gable challenge for the title until he eventually wins is going to just destroy the inevitable victory. It's just going to destroy the inevitable time he actually does win, because the more and more you delay the victory, it then gets to the point where the fans just do not care when they do finally win. So now that Chad has lost again, and Otis and Maxine have basically once again not helped Chad Gable win, Raw needs to be where Chad Gable finally decides to fire them. I don't know where Tozawa was. I didn't see Tozawa there. I only saw Maxine and Otis. I don't know what happened to Tozawa. But yeah, it's time to move on. It's time to move on, I think. If I see Chad Gable challenging for the title at Money in the Bank, I'm not going to be happy. It's time to give Sami Zayn a new opponent. You've got so many other people. You've got so many other people on the Raw roster for him to work with now. Like Bron Breakker, for example. Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Ilya Dragunov. You got him. You've got him. You know, you've got several other people for him to work with now. It's time to give good old Sami someone else to work with. Hell, even give Bronson Reed another shot. But all I'm saying is, it's time to move on and give someone else a chance at Sami Zayn's title. It's time to move on, I think. I definitely think it's time to move on from Chad Gable, and have Chad Gable begin his feud with Chad, and begin Chad's inevitable rivalry with Otis that's going to happen at SummerSlam. We had Piper Niven take on Bayley. Man, I have not forgotten the time when Pat McAfee said Piper Niven's name, Piper Niven, and I've been saying it like that ever since. Look, Piper Niven, you know, people like to rag on her. Some people call her worse Nia Jax. Sometimes I call her better Nia Jax. I call her better Nia Jax because I think she's better than Nia Jax, and I still believe she is better than Nia Jax. The only reason why people are praising Nia Jax now and saying she's getting better in the ring is because she's not working under a man named Vince McMahon. She's not working under a person named Vince. Because she's under Triple H, now all of a sudden things are different. Oh, this isn't the same Nia Jax that worked for Vince. this is a completely different Nia Jax. Nah, she's still the same Nia Jax to me. Just less of my hole. It's just less of my hole. You know? Just less of the my hole stuff. So anyway, Bayley was able to retain against Piper Niven. It was a fine match, and I kind of want Piper Niven to be drafted, or, not drafted. You know what I mean. Split away from Chelsea Green. I think it's time for them to split them up. If you're not going to have them challenge for the tag team titles, just split them up. It's time, and besides, I think it is time for a bit of a refresh for these two. I kind of go through a Piper Niven face turn. Maybe Chelsea Green finally just, you know, I think it's just time for them to split them up, I think. At least that's what I think anyway, so, I mean, that's just what I think. Like, I don't know what else you could, like Piper Niven is a perfect example of what I said, of what I've been saying. She only got a title shot because they're going to Scotland. She only got a title shot because they're going to Scotland, and I don't know what they do with her after this. I think they have Chelsea Green challenge Bayley because they're going to Canada. I don't want to see Chelsea Green in the Money in the Bank because someone as cringy as Chelsea Green should not be going into the Money in the Bank. And then the main event match was Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight title. CM Punk appears and ultimately screws Drew McIntyre. You know, you might disagree. I think a lot of people might agree with me with this. I did not like this. Like, I would have much rathered if Drew McIntyre actually outsmarted CM Punk for once. Because throughout this entire feud, CM Punk's been getting the upper hand on Drew McIntyre every single time. Like, I have not seen a point where Drew McIntyre outsmarted Punk, or Drew got the last laugh on Punk. You know what I mean? Like, Drew has been getting royally screwed over by Punk in every single corner. They're making Drew look utterly stupid by dealing with Punk, and Punk's always getting the upper hand on him. Like, I need a scenario where Drew McIntyre finally gets the upper hand on CM Punk, and obviously, it kind of makes me think that SummerSlam should be that time. Obviously, they're building to the inevitable match between Punk and Drew at SummerSlam, and though I will say this, Drew and Punk don't need the belt. Punk and Drew don't need the belt. While I do agree with that, I do agree with some people that say that Drew and Punk don't need the belt, but I do feel Drew should have won here, because I think having Drew outsmart Punk would have been a nice shake-up. You know? Would be a nice shake-up, instead of just having CM Punk get the upper hand on Drew McIntyre again, which is exactly what we saw. And then CM Punk ended up being the most hated man in Scotland, and Damian Priest was able to retain. This was the only way I would have seen. This is the only way Damian Priest was going to leave Clash of the Castle with the title if CM Punk did something. So what do you do with Drew? What do you do with Damian Priest now? What do you do with Damian Priest now? Who do you have him defend the title against at Money in the Bank? It feels like they're going to be going down the path of Damian Priest versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title, and that could ultimately mean that Gunther is going to leave World Heavyweight Champion. Not saying that I hate it, not that I hate the idea of Gunther being World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, we literally just sat through him being Intercontinental Champion for over 600 days. We literally just watched him be IC Champion for 600 days. And now that we're going to be possibly seeing him have another dominant reign, you know, that might get a little bit boring. And I love Gunther. I love the guy. I love Gunther. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, but having him go from having being Intercontinental Champion to potentially now being World Heavyweight Champion, like in a span of a few months, you know, might annoy your audience. It may annoy your audience, which is all I'm saying. So hopefully whoever wins the men's Money in the Bank ladder match is a good... It could end up being Jey Uso for all we know. Could ultimately cash in during that match and maybe cash in and win, protecting Gunther and pinning Damian Priest. But I guess we will see in due time. So that's all I've got for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up, give me your thoughts down below, and I'll see you all on the other side.